We are an environmental nonprofit located on Bald Head Island, which is about 35 miles south of Wilmington, North Carolina. It's a wonderful Cape Island, which is related to Barrier Islands, and it is just at the convergence of the Cape Fear River and the Atlantic Ocean. It is the location of the Cape Fear. On Bald Head, the mission of the Bald Head Island Conservancy is to foster community-based Barrier Island conservation, education, and preservation. And we do this to fulfill the vision of our community. Our community wishes to live in harmony with nature. So that's our vision for the future, living in harmony with nature on the coastline. So how do you do that? Well, the first thing that you do is you protect nature, because nature has a special way of paying you back. And it pays you back by protecting you against storms. If our barriers are protected against storms, our mainland will be protected against storms, and our economies and infrastructure will also be protected. So on Bald Head, the Conservancy is a tool that the community uses to make sure that nature is intact and resilient against storms. And you've never seen a dune like a Bald Head dune. We actually call our dunes savannas because there's a lot of them and they're in their natural state. So our dunes protect us against storm waves, but they also serve as important habitat for a lot of animals and plants. The most important environment on our island is our climax community, our maritime forest. Our maritime forest is an old-growth maritime forest. It's protected both in the residential area, but also in our 200-acre maritime forest preserve. There are ancient live oak trees in there. The forest actually is an amazing symbol for the spirit of community that you see in the human population on Bald Head. The live oak trees actually join their branches with the trees adjacent to them. And that catbrier that you fight so hard to get rid of in your yard, that catbrier weaves together the branches. So when a hurricane force wind comes by that forest, the canopy acts as a unit and it can shear off hurricane force winds. Now on the other side of our maritime forest is 10,000 acres of salt marsh. And this is an important stopover for a lot of migrating birds. It's an amazing habitat for all kinds of animals and birds, raccoons, deer. You'll even see bottlenose dolphins swimming in that marsh and schooling fish against the mudbanks. Oysters are wonderful in this habitat. And recently we've even seen river otters frolicking in our creeks. We try to work the same way that our forest does. We try to work with our neighbors to help make sure that everybody's vision of living in harmony with nature comes to fruition. So that means working with island businesses, with island residents, and certainly our visitors to make sure first they understand the complex dynamics in nature, but secondly that when they do build and when they do interact with nature, that they do so in an effective and safe way. We think that Bald Head is the gem of North Carolina. We think there's no place else like it. And we think the more people that can see it and appreciate it, the more we can help protect it. Go on our island nature tour, and that will get you ferry tickets and a tour throughout the island. You might see a bald eagle on the nest. You might see an alligator in a pond. Each time of year, every month, brings something different, from the glorious painted buntings all the way to our gannets in the winter who come near shore when it gets too cold and too rough offshore.